Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
She's still my baby.
Okay.
And I want to make sure my baby's protected and the story is told right.
All right. Well, does she have an inability to speak?
No, she does not, sir.
Well, then let me find that out for myself.
In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness.
Stop. Is that true?
I don't want you to understand, I want you to overstand.
Yes, sir.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something.
That's not gonna happen. Not up in here, not today.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Reese Avery claims he let the defendant drive his rental van during a road trip and says she hit a pole and refused to pay for the damage.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
Mr. Avery is suing Nia Hawthorne in the amount of $1,500.
All parties have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. All right, Mr. Avery, $1,500 is what you want from Miss Hawthorne because?
Because she was the one that caused damage to the truck that we rented for my girlfriend's birthday trip up to Lake Tahoe, sir.
Miss Hawthorne, did you damage a vehicle while you were operating it?
Yes.
Yes, there's no dispute.
No.
Oh, well then my work is done here. I see somebody raising their hand. Who is this?
It's my father.
Your father.
Yes.
All right, well, Dad, come on up. What say you? What is it that you need to tell me? Because your daughter already said that she was driving the vehicle.
Yes, Your Honor. Nia is being a little modest about, yes, she did hit the pole, but it wasn't just like she just took control of the car.
Were you
hit the
there?
pole. I'm going by what my daughter told me, sir.
Okay, so then why would I hear from you when I've got the person who actually was in the car right in front of me? How old are you, ma'am?
24.
She's a grown woman, Mr. Hawthorne. Well, I mean, she can't speak for herself?
So, Your Honor, she's still my baby.
Okay.
And I want to make sure my baby's protected and the story's told right.
All right. Well, does she have an inability to speak?
No, she does not, sir.
Well, then let me find that out for myself.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. So, Miss Hawthorne, talk to me.
So, mind you, I love both of them. I love Reese and Morgan. You know, Morgan.
And the relationship, Mr. Avery, that she's referring to when she talks about Morgan, Morgan is your girlfriend.
Correct.
And I take it she's here. I'm going to hear from Morgan in a minute.
Yeah.
But you have a relationship with Morgan. The two of you are friends.
That's my girl.
That's your girl. And apparently there was some sort of outing to celebrate Morgan.
Yeah.
What was that about?
So it was for her 25th birthday.
Okay.
And she wanted to do something a little different this year, so she wanted us to rent a cabin up in Tahoe and to transport everybody up there. You know, our cars weren't big enough, so we elected to rent a Sprinter van.
I tell you what, Morgan, come on up since we're talking about you here anyway. You decided that you wanted to celebrate your 25th birthday going up to Lake Tahoe.
Yes, Your Honor.
What made you decide that?
It was actually my idea. I was just super excited to, like Reese said, do something a little bit different. And, you know, you've seen Northern California. It's beautiful.
Right.
That's all I wanted to do for my 25th. And it was my fault that I wasn't able to drive.
Oh, the responsibility shifts. Why is it your fault? And why aren't you not paying $1,500?
I wasn't able to drive because my license had expired. So Reese ended up driving us, and he was going to be the designated driver.
And how old are you, Reese?
I'm 24.
Because don't we have a situation here where if you're 25, you don't have to pay the additional monies for being a younger driver? And so you wouldn't have had to have paid if your license had been valid, right? Because there's additional fees for people who are younger.
Oh, I don't really know how rental companies work.
Yes, that's exactly. Deputy Thomas, you know about that,
And
right?
a lot of companies won't rent to you if you're under 25.
And if they do rent to you, they charge you a fee, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So you would have not had to have had that fee. You wouldn't have to deal with any of that. But because you didn't get your license on your birthday, we have Reese steps in and says, fine. So tell me what happens, Reese.
Yes, sir. So we were driving. We were about 6 hours into the trip, and I started to, feel a little bit tired. I had just worked a shift at the hospital the night prior. And so, prior to having worked my shift, it was a birthday trip the next day. So, we were kind of on a tight timetable with, the Airbnb schedule and everything. So, after her getting denied at the rental place, it fell to me to be the sole driver of the trip, and so.
Okay, and there were other young ladies also on the trip. Nobody else wanted to step up?
They hate driving.
They hated driving?
Yeah.
All right.
They're not drivers.
They're not drivers. You're driving after having worked this shift, 6 hours in, and what happens?
So I feel myself getting a little bit tired behind the wheel, and instead of like, kind of pushing through like that wall and, causing a potential accident on the road somewhere,
Yes.
I elected to pull over. And I asked the group, I said, ladies, would anyone, care to finish the trip? There's only about 2 hours left. And
Now, when you rented the car, were there other people designated as additional drivers?
No, sir.
Coming up on America's Court.
You screamed before.
Why would she
hit
scream?
the pole
Yes,
because
sir, I
of
was in the
what?
passenger seat, so I saw it.
And both her and Reese saw this pole, and they didn't give me a heads up on that.
And,
I did
and your
give you a
scream was reflective of what? Oh my God, you're getting ready to hit this pole?
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Reese Avery, who is suing Nia Hawthorne for property damage.
You thought you were just going to be able to go from LA to Lake Tahoe straight by yourself
Yep.
and not have any issue?
Yes, sir. I'd made the drive before, and I thought I could just kind of shoulder the responsibility, and I didn't think it would be an issue this time around.
Okay. Turns out you were wrong.
That's right.
That's right. All right, Nia, take me from there. So he says, I'm getting a little sleepy.
Yeah, it's about 6 hours in, like he mentioned. And I am used to driving vans like that. And I knew the other girls really don't like driving. I don't mind driving. I babysit and I drive kids around, sometimes throughout the week anyway. So I just didn't mind driving. So yeah, I was sitting right behind him on the driver's seat. He did pull into a parking lot, and we did switch that way. But on the right side, apparently there was this really short pole right underneath of the passenger front side mirror. Again, I'm getting out from the back side behind the driver's seat, so I don't see the pole. I'll tell you why that's important in a second.
Tell me now.
Okay, so I switched with Reese, and I moved obviously to drive because I told him, yeah, I'll drive. I'm used to driving vans like this. There was a car that pulled up behind us not too long before Reese switched. They parked horribly. They weren't directly behind me, but they were behind me in some sort. So I had to maneuver in order to move us, to continue with the drive. I had to back up, but I couldn't back up straight because, like I said, it was a car kind of right behind me, so I had to cut it. When I was cutting it, I did hit the pole. And when I hit the pole, Morgan screamed, and we both just kind of had a moment.
I screamed before you hit the pole.
Well, she wouldn't have screamed before. Why? Why would she do that?
Well, I'm sorry. You corrected her to say you screamed. You screamed before.
Why would she
hit the pole
Yes,
because
sir, I was
of what?
in the passenger seat, so I saw it.
And both her and Reese saw this pole, and they didn't give me a heads up on that. So.
And
I did give you
your
a heads
scream
up.
was reflective of what? Oh my God, you're getting ready to hit this pole?
Yeah, I was like, watch out. I was in the passenger seat. I saw it just as well as she did.
I see. So you hit the pole.
I did. That I did not see.
And then what happens?
Morgan screamed. And we kind of just didn't pay it any mind. Like, we didn't even get out to check it out. We just kind of kept moving back. Or I continued to back up, I should say. And then I just continued about the drive. We drove 2 more hours. We got to the cabin, and we had a good time.
Got out the car and said, oh, did we cause any sort of damage? Or oh, it's not our car, so who cares?
Sorry, Your Honor. Not.
There you go again, not being there, but wanting to talk.
Well,
yes,
I did
sir.
text him. After I made the mistake, I did text my dad. I just wanted him to know. I tell him everything. So I just wanted him to know, like, how the trip was going. And, right after I did hit the pole, I sent him a quick text, and I told him, like, hey, I hit a pole, but we're fine, and I'm having a good time. So I did let him know right after it happened.
Okay, Mr. Hawthorne?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. So she texted me and said that, Dad, I just hit a pole in the car. What should I do? It wasn't an immediate get on the road and go. They all kind of contemplated for a second from her text about coming back home.
Okay.
I
even considering canceling the trip.
Yes.
Is that true, Reese?
For a brief moment, I had let the
You're like, we
insurance
ain't
know.
canceling this trip.
Yeah,
we're going to keep
we're already
going,
kinda
and we're
halfway
going to make
through
this
it,
thing.
you
It
know.
was my birthday. We had a great time regardless.
No, we did.
Okay,
yeah.
so
And we did. I agree with that.
you had a good time. There was no animosity, no issue, no drama with anyone.
It was one of those things where, it was frustrating in the moment, obviously, because, we had gone that whole trip without any issues. And then, right as we're kind of, hitting a wall on our trip, right?
But it didn't prevent you all from getting turned up and having a good time, clearly, because if you kept going and you got to the cabin and you, woo-woo, 25.
I didn't think it was a big deal at all.
Okay.
To be quite honest, so.
And ultimately, though, you got to take that car back to the rental company.
Correct.
Is that where the issue is?
Yes, sir. So, like I
Because
said,
to me, if you're driving, Ms. Hawthorne, why aren't you responsible for causing the damage to the vehicle?
I'm not liable. My name wasn't on the insurance. My name wasn't on the car. My name wasn't on anything, really. I just offered to drive 2 more hours to be nice to Reese.
but if you let a chef into your restaurant,
Talk to me.
if you let a chef into your restaurant who says he can cook and he catches your kitchen on fire, are you going to blame the owner of the restaurant, or are you going to blame the chef that says he can cook?
We don't have that situation here. Because if you have someone who's a chef in a kitchen situation, we're talking about a contract between you and the rental car company, right? And you signed a contract saying that you would bring this car back in the state that it was when they rented it to you.
Not to mention he declined the insurance.
Did you what the walkaway insurance?
Correct. $35 a day, which is nothing. It's way cheaper than what he has to do.
Did
with
you
now.
decline the walkaway insurance on the policy?
Yes. However,
Because couldn't you have split it between all the people in the group?
well, it's funny you should mention that, Your Honor, because part of our agreement, like, in our group text before we got on the trip was, we agreed to split everything equally. So, our gas.
Even
the price
better.
of-
Okay, so there was an accident. We all split it 7 ways.
Correct.
That's not what you're asserting here.
Your Honor, we weren't planning on an accident.
Right.
Okay. Who plans for an accident?
Right.
That's why you have this thing called insurance, right?
Your Honor, may I ask you a question?
No. But what we can do is find out there's someone else that's behind you. So, Morgan, I'm going to have you take a seat for a moment, and I'm going to have this other witness that you have come forward. And who do we have here?
Hi, Your Honor. I am this lovely man's mother. I'm Denise Avery.
Well, of course you would say that he's a lovely man.
You know,
Me and Deputy Thomas, we're like, not so much.
You know, this
joking with
this young man, he's working extremely hard. He's an orderly, as you know, at a hospital, and he very kindly said, I'm going to provide a great weekend for my girlfriend. I'm going to drive 6 girls.
Coming up on America's Court.
Yes, you just have to say something. Yes, what? What?
Your Honor, can I just say that not full truth is being told over there?
In what respect?
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Reese Avery, who is suing Nia Hawthorne for property damage.
You know, an accident did happen, which we know was not his fault. It was the fault of Miss Nia, and we just want her to take responsibility. It's really not about the bill.
And why are you here, though, other than that he's this
Right.
lovely, charming son of yours?
So the reason I'm here is because we did return the car. We did have to pay.
You said we. Our
well-
doctor in training here, why aren't you responsible? Why is Mom saying we had to pay?
I'm still on her insurance, Your Honor.
Ah.
So my son is still under my insurance. We decided not to file a claim because we just didn't think it was worth it.
Yes, you just have to say something. Yes, what? What?
Your Honor, can I just say that not full truth is being told over there?
In what respect?
By Miss Avery about her son. Yeah, he worked a long shift, but he only slept 2 hours before the trip.
And were you there? Were you at the hospital? Excuse me, sorry. Were you there?
Again, how are you in all these different scenarios?
So my daughter.
You're in Lake Tahoe. You're at a restaurant.
My daughter and her friend talk, and so she tells me stuff, and I hear things. And what I was told was he only slept 2 hours before driving 6 girls 6 hours, which. Who does that?
It's insane.
This charming, intelligent, amazing young man here. That's who does that.
A truck driver can't even drive 8 hours without taking a rest break, Your Honor. And from what I understand, he didn't even take the
Here's
rest
what
break
I'm trying to
at work.
understand. Why do you feel as though that helps me one way or the other?
Coming up on America's Court.
You still have car insurance, don't you?
That's correct, but I am under my father still.
Okay, parents. When are we cutting the cord here?
Never.
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Reese Avery, who is suing Nia Hawthorne for property damage.
You could say the same thing about Nia. Well, why did she feel like she had to volunteer? It's maybe we just all need to take a nap for a couple of hours before we continue driving on the road.
Or they both should have gave me the heads up on the pole that they both saw. They knew I didn't see it. I literally was behind the driver's side. I went from there to the driver. or in the driver's chair. So there's no way that I would have seen any pole to the right of me, especially if it was below the mirror.
But you
or the
still
passenger side.
volunteered, though.
Of course, but
You
as
still
my
volunteered.
friends, I feel like, why would you not give me the heads up on something like that?
I did.
After the fact, Your Honor, with a scream.
During the fact.
All right, so the bottom line is there's no insurance. Why wouldn't you put it on your insurance, Ms. Hawthorne?
I'm 24 as well.
But I'm saying you still have car insurance, don't you?
That's correct, but I am under my father still.
Okay, parents. When are we cutting the cord here?
Never.
25.
Not anytime soon, yeah.
25. That's when you said you're off the policy at 25. Is she on your medical insurance as well? Of course she is.
As of right now, yes.
Yeah, of course she is.
She is, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Do you work?
You know, I still babysit, and I'm honestly in the works of getting another job. I'm really into engineering, so I'm working on that right now.
Oh, so
I'm
you're
currently
still
in
in
school
school?
now. Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's the reason that you don't have any insurance because
yet.
you're still not fully employed.
Right, and babysitting.
And you still live at
doesn't
home.
pay much. Yeah, I
And
do.
you still live at home.
I mean, it's available, so.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Well, I already knew the answer to that. All right, Ms. Hawthorne, what about you? How come you didn't offer to pay something?
I mean, I kind of would have, but
Wait.
we're here.
What do you mean I kind of would have?
It's just that conversation was never like, we never had that conversation.
Okay, I got it.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program.
I think I've heard enough. I'm ready to rule. Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, I don't know, call me silly, but to me, this does not seem that complicated. You are responsible because you are the one who entered into the contractual relationship with the car company.
Correct.
You're responsible because you caused the damage to the vehicle owned by the rental car company.
That's correct.
And they're going to expect some sort of compensation. So to me, it would have just been such a no-brainer to go, hey, why don't we just pay half? You pay for being irresponsible for not getting the insurance and not putting me as an additional driver, and I'll pay because at the end of the day, ignorance of the law is no excuse. If you hit something and you damage property, then you still have to be responsible for that. Ergo, based on the testimony and the evidence before this court, the gavel is going to come down in favor of the plaintiffs in the amount of $750, which is equitable in terms of both sides having to step up as grown people that need to say, love your mom, love your dad, I got this. But Nia, you will be paying Reese that $750. That is the order. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $750.
I feel like you guys were supposed to be my friends, so we could have talked about this, but you decided to bring it
Yeah,
to
we
court.
could have, but we didn't, and now we're here.
Well, you'll get your money and you probably won't hear from me again.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.